Exclude @component from @component scan in Spring Boot Introduction. In Spring Boot, @component scan is used to automatically detect and register Spring-managed beans, such as a component, @service, @repository, @controller. This is very convenient, but sometimes you may want to exclude a specific component from being scanned. Common reasons include avoiding duplicate beans, disabling a class in certain environments, excluding test or experimental components, replacing a component with another implementation, preventing unwanted auto-registration. Spring provides several ways to exclude components from scanning. What does exclude @component from @component scan mean? It means telling Spring, do not register this class as a bean, even if it is inside the scanned package. In simple terms, class exists in scanned package means Spring sees it, means exclusion rule prevents registration. Example concept. Component class in package means component scan runs, means class excluded, means no bean created. Without exclusion, component found, being created, may cause conflicts or unwanted behavior. With exclusion, component found, excluded by rule, being not created. Example concept. Controlled scanning means cleaner application context default, behavior of @component scan. By default, Spring Boot scans from the package of your main class downward. Example. @Spring Boot application, public class application. If this class is in com.example.app, Spring scans com.example.app and automatically registers all components it finds. Example concept. Main package means recursive scan, means all matching components registered, basic way to exclude a component. You can use exclude formats inside @component scan. Example import org.springframework.context.annotation.component scan. Import org.springframework.context.annotation.FilterType. Import org.springframework.boot.autoconfigure Spring Boot application. Spring Boot application. @component scan. Exclude filters. Exclude filters. Type of FilterType.ASSIGNABLE TYPE. Classes of myExcludedComponent.class. Example concept. Specific class targeted means excluded from scanning. This is one of the most direct and common approaches. Example component to exclude. Import org.springframework.stereotype.component. Op component, public class, myExcludedComponent. With the exclusion rule in place, this class will not become a Spring bean. How FilterType.ASSIGNABLE type works. FilterType.ASSIGNABLE type tells Spring to exclude a specific class or assignable type. Example concept. Scan finds class means matches. Assignable type filter means class skipped. This is usually the best option when you know the exact component class to exclude. Method 2. Exclude by annotation. You can exclude all classes with a particular annotation. Example, @componentScan, exclude filters equals @componentScan.filter, type equals FilterType.annotation, classes equals deprecated_component.class. Suppose you define a custom annotation. Import java.lang.annotation.f. @target element type, @retention policy runtime, public interface deprecated component, and use it. Like component @deprecated component, public class old service. Example concept. Annotation-based filter means all matching components excluded. This is useful when excluding a group of components. Method 3. Exclude by regex pattern. You can exclude classes by package or class name pattern. Example, @componentScan, exclude filters, exactComponentScan.filter, type, FilterType regex, pattern, com.example.app.legacy. Example concept. Class name package matches regex means excluded from scan. This is helpful when excluding an entire package or naming pattern. Method 4. Exclude by AspectJ pattern. Spring also supports AspectJ type patterns. Example, @componentScan, exclude filters, @componentScan.filter, type equals FilterType AspectJ, pattern equals com.example.app.excluded. Example concept. Pattern-based exclusion means flexible class selection. This is less common, but useful in advanced scenarios. Method 5. Use default filters equals false. You can disable default component scanning and include only what you want. Example, at component scan, base packages equals com example app. Use default filters equals false. Include filters equals a component scan.filter. Type equals FilterType.ASSIGNABLE TYPE. Classes equals myIncludedService.class. Example concept. Default scanning off means only explicitly included beans registered. This is a stricter approach and gives full control. Real-world example. Suppose you have component public class email service, component public class SMS service, but in one environment you want to exclude SMS service. Main class at Spring Boot application, at component scan, exclude filters at component scan filter. Type is FilterType.ASSIGNABLE TYPE. Classes SMS service.class. Public class application. Example concept. Email service registered, SMS service excluded. Excluding components in tests. This can also be useful in integration tests. Example at Spring Boot test, at component scan. Exclude filters equals a component scan.filter, type of filter type assignable type. Classes equals real payment gateway.class. Public class payment test PA. Example concept. Production component excluded in test context. This is useful when replacing a real bean with a mock or test bean. Alternative approach. Use at profile instead of exclusion. Sometimes exclusion is not the best solution. You may want conditional registration instead. Example, at component, at profile prod, public class real payment gateway. Example concept. Profile active means bean created. Profile inactive means bean not created. This is often cleaner when behavior depends on environment. Alternative approach, conditional beans. You can also use conditional annotations like at conditional on property, at conditional on missing bean, custom, at conditional example, at component, at conditional on property, name feature.sms.enabled, having value equals true, public class SMS service. Example concept. Property true means bean registered. Property false means bean skipped. This can be more flexible than scan exclusion. Common mistakes. 1. Excluding the wrong class. If the filter targets the wrong type, Spring still registers the unwanted component. 2. Forgetting that at Spring Boot application already includes component scanning. If you add a custom at component scan, be careful not to unintentionally change scan behavior too much. 3. Excluding a bean that other beans depend on. This may cause no such bean definition exception. Example concept. Excluded bean means dependency missing, means context startup fails. 4. Using regex or AspectJ patterns incorrectly. Pattern mistakes may exclude too much or too little. 5. Using exclusion when profiles or conditions would be cleaner. Exclusion works, but sometimes it is not the most maintainable choice. Best practices. Best practices include: use FilterType.ASSIGNABLE TYPE when excluding one known class. Use annotation or regex filters only when truly needed. Prefer at profile or conditional annotations for environment-based bean control. Check dependencies before excluding a bean. Keep component scanning rules simple and explicit. Example concept. Simple exclusions means easier to understand and maintain. Advantages. Advantages include: precise control over bean registration avoids duplicate or unwanted beans, useful in modular applications, helpful for tests and environment-specific behavior. Challenges. Challenges include: possible dependency errors, confusion with scan scope, overcomplicated filter configuration. Maintaining exclusions as codebase grows. Concepts learned. By learning this topic, you understand how at component scan works, how to exclude a specific at component, how to use exclude filters, the difference between assignable type, annotation, regex, and AspectJ filters, when to use exclusion versus profiles or conditions. Simple definition. Exclude @component from @component_scan. The process of telling Spring not to register a matching component as a beam during package scanning. Final summary. Spring Boot automatically registers @component classes through component scanning, but you can exclude specific components using @component_scan. Exclude filters equals the most common and cleanest way is component scan, exclude filters, @component_scan filter, type equals FilterType.ASSIGNABLE type, classes equals my excluded component class. Other options include excluding by annotation, regex, aspect J pattern. For many real-world cases, profiles or conditional beam registration may be even cleaner than scan exclusion. The key idea is component detected by scan means exclusion rule prevents beam creation.